everybody. Hope everybody's doing all right. Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you hit the subscribe button and stick with me. Follow along. You see by the title, Eating Mushrooms in Sing Sing Prison. We're going to get to that in a minute. We'll get to that. I've done a couple of little videos on Sing Sing where I mentioned it and spoke about it. It was the first facility that I went into when I was sentenced. And Sing Sing is a deplorable prison. It's a prison that is filled with rats and mice. It's a prison that it's filled with roaches. The windows are broken. The cold air blows in. On some nights, the heat doesn't work. The place is filthy. It's absolutely atrocious. It should be condemned. It is one of the filthiest prisons in the Department of Corrections in New York. It might be the filthiest prison. I mean, really, really disgusting place. They mainly keep it open for historical reasons, Sing Sing. Uh, Sing Sing is a lot of guys want to go there at the same time. A lot of prisoners do want to do their time in Sing Sing, and that's for a few reasons. One is that it's about 45 minutes to 1 hour from the five boroughs from New York City. And so it's easy to get visits there. There's visits 7 days a week. So they also have conjugal visits there. So if you're married, your family can get there very easily. If you want to visit, you can call home in the morning and be like, listen, can you come see me this afternoon? And your family is there within an hour. Your friends are there within an hour. So a lot of guys want to go to Sing Sing because it's close. A lot of guys want to stay in Sing Sing because the amount of drugs in there. It probably has more drugs than any state prison in New York State. And that, again, is because of how close it is to the city. And a lot of the drugs come in through the visit room. You can call someone in the morning and say, listen, pick up these drugs and bring them to me. And then you have them by the afternoon. So another reason guys like to stay there. A third reason guys like to be there is because most of the corrections officers, not all of them, but most of the correctional officers that work there are from the projects themselves. They come right out of the hood. So a lot of the prisoners know the officers. You could be in your cell, and if you can't see who's speaking, you don't know who's speaking. There'll be an officer, yo, what up, son? What's poppin', G? Yo, homeboy. And that's the officer speaking. You know what I mean? And so those are some of the reasons guys like to be in Sing Sing. But it's really, really filthy. It's really dirty. The lead paint is peeling off of the walls. The place is falling apart. Truly a disgusting place to do time. I originally started, there's mainly two blocks in Sing Sing, A block, B block. There's a place called 5 Building, which is used as a reception area as well as some regular housing. And they do have an honor dorm in there. I never saw the honor dorm, but they do have an honor dorm there. So that's Sing Sing. Anyway, I'm in Sing Sing, and a buddy of mine got some hallucinogenic mushrooms. He's got about an eighth, which is about 3.5 grams of mushrooms, And I figure, well, why not? What the hell? He gives me a bag. Here, fish, you want to trip out, have some fun. And so I take this bag of mushrooms and I go to my neighbor, Thor. Thor was he had long blonde hair down to his shoulders, real physically fit dude, big white dude, did tattoos, really good tattoo work. Good guy. Thor was a good dude. He did a couple of tattoos on me as well while I was in there. Anyways, Thor was in the cell next to me at the time. And I go to him. I said, listen, you want to eat half of these mushrooms? No problem. He says, yeah. So I cut the bag in half. I give him about, a gram and a half of the mushrooms, and I eat the rest of them. We both eat them. Mushrooms taste like shit. And because that's what they grow out of. So, it takes about 30 minutes for them to hit you, 35 minutes for them to hit you. And I'm the yard porter at the time. That was my job at the time. So I used to go to the yard about 20 minutes, half hour before the regular population. You would go out there and pick up any garbage, change the garbage bags, and also get in a workout before the population comes out there. You get to work out by yourself. Some of the benefits of being a yard porter. So I go out to the yard porter with Carl. Carl is one of the plumbers over there, so he gets to go out there early too because he gets to work on some stuff. And but right before we go to the yard, these mushrooms start hitting me. I start tripping out, and for any of you who have tripped out and done hallucinogenics, It takes you into another world. It takes you into another place and really creates a pretty intense feeling inside of you. So, you do that inside of your living room is one thing. To do it in the maximum security prison of Sing Sing is another. And I get into the yard and I start tripping out, man. I'm really starting to, bug out. I'm just sitting there with Carl and we're talking, and I'm looking around me and I can't believe that I'm in Sing Sing prison tripping out. The reality starts to hit me. I'm like, yo, this is surreal, man. I can't believe where we are. So Carl's got to do some work in the vocational building, and the vocational building is where the death penalty was held in Sing Sing. It's where the electric chair was that they called Old Sparky. And so I says, "Come on, I'll go in there with you." And we go over into the vocational building. And for those of you who don't know, I've mentioned it in my stories before. My grandfather was put to death in the electric chair in Sing Sing prison, uh, and in 1958. And so going into that building is, you talk about surreal, going into the place where they put my grandfather to death. And we walk into the building together, and the room itself has been transformed into a vocational building where they teach like small engine repair. But the exact spot where the electric chair has been preserved, and the chair isn't there anymore, but there's four bolts in the floor where the chair used to be. You can see where the switches used to be on the wall. You can see where there was a viewing window. So they kind of preserved this area for how historical it is. And I'm really tripping out hard. And I walked to the place where the chair was bolted to the floor. And I'm standing in the exact spot where my grandfather was put to death, in the exact spot. And what's really tripping me out, besides the mushrooms, is I'm kind of in a very unique position. How many people can say that they're standing in the spot where their grandfather was put to death, in the exact spot? And I had been there once before in the prison. I had been there once before when I first came into the prison. I was able to be taken to this area. But now I was here alone again and standing in this spot and tripping out on these mushrooms and looking around me and thinking of the 614 people that were killed in the spot where I was standing. And it was just a really overpowering feeling came over me, an overwhelming feeling came inside of me. And I was in another world, and I started to talk to my grandfather. I don't believe in the supernatural stuff. I'll be honest, we're not going to get into that. But I said, if he can hear me, let me speak. If there's any chance, if this man can hear me, and I apologized to him again for being in the same spot that he was 41 years later. What was really strange about that story a little is my grandfather was put to death on the same day I was born, and we look exactly alike, exactly alike. I never met him, but my family has a ton of pictures, and we look like twins. I should post the picture in the beginning of this video. Maybe if I can go through my pictures and find it, I'll post the picture in the beginning of the video to show you the resemblance is insane. So here I am tripping out in this spot, talking to my grandfather, and it's just really bugged out situation. And I says, I got to get out of here. You know what I mean? Because I really got like a cold sweats and an eerie feeling coming over me. And so I make my way out back into the recreational yard, and everything is in, everything, I'm tripping out. Everything is just like to the hundredth power, and I could see the Hudson River through the yard, and the gun tower, and the razor wire, the walls. I mean, it's just like like a movie, man. I'm like, wow, I'm bugging out, man. I got to get back in the cell. I don't want to be out in the yard anymore. I know the other prisoners, they're about to call recreation, and the yard is about to get flooded with prisoners. I don't want to be in the yard tripping out. So I make my way back into the building, and I go back into the building, and I go to my cell, but the cell is locked, so I have to wait like 3 or 4 minutes until they call the yard and I can get in there. So I go see Thor. I said, let me see how Thor's doing. So I go, I'm like, I see Thor. I'm like, yo, I gotta get in my cell. I gotta get in my cell. I can't be out here. I'm tripping out, man. I'm freaking out. And Thor is locked in his cell. He's going, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of my cell. And when the doors opened, I went in and he came out and the doors shut, and I spent 6, 8 hours in my cell just tripping out. I tried to write. I tried to, there's not much you could do in a cell in Sing Sing. In that time too, I don't know Sing Sing now. I don't think they have televisions in their cells. They didn't when I was in there. So there was nothing to do inside of your cell in Sing Sing. I had a typewriter where I used to write my stories and type my stories and work on my youth program, things like that. But at this point, I wasn't even at that level in my life yet. I was still doing drugs. I hadn't quit doing drugs until I was in prison for a few years. So I would definitely not recommend tripping out on mushrooms. Inside of the correctional department. I wouldn't recommend doing them at all. You know me. A lot of people just think I tell these stories I tell them to reminisce and tell people about, the stories of imprisonment and the things that go on in there. I don't condone doing drugs anymore. I don't. I'm a drug-free person for many, many years. Alcohol-free person for many, many years. Someone left a comment again on my thing. Oh, sounds like you missed the place. Someone said that to me from a video I posted yesterday or this morning. One of the comments sounds like you missed the place. No, jerk off. I don't miss the place. All right. It was about I missed some of the guys that were in there because I met good men in there. A few of them, not a lot of them. I met some good men in there, so I miss a few of the guys. I don't miss being in prison. I don't miss losing my rights. I don't miss being told what I could eat, what I can wear, where I can stand, when I can sit, when I can call home. I don't miss any of those things. You know what I mean? I don't miss being forced to do things. One thing I noticed about making these videos, you're always going to get people that leave these idiotic comments. These moronic comments. Someone always has something negative to say. A lot of good people out there, though. I really appreciate you that leave beautiful comments and nice comments. Of course, I'm going to appreciate those. And I'm a respectful person. I'm a humble person. I'm never rude to people. You know what I mean? And so, I live by a saying: you treat me good, I'll treat you better. You treat me bad, and I'll treat you worse. I had always lived by that on the street. But people become computer gangsters, behind the computer screen. They feel like they could say anything, do anything. My mother used to tell everyone about something about me growing up. She says, a lot of people have something to say about Fish, she said, but they never say it to his face, and so it just shows you the type of people that I'm dealing with out there. But, I try not to let it get to me. I'm just trying to feed the curiosity that you people have about incarceration and also motivate people to stay out of that joint. But that was a story. Anyway, I'm sorry I'm talking so much. That was a story about eating the mushrooms in prison. And it was surreal. It was something that I'll never ever forget, being in that spot. You guys take care, and I will talk with you soon. Please hit the subscribe button. It's right down there. See that little thing? Push that thing for me. Take care.